What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and I am here with my review for The Blackening. Now, if you have not seen this joint yet, you already know the drill. Come on back. I'm doing spoilers. It is what it is. First and foremost, allow me to say thank you to both Lionsgate and that hashtag show for allowing me to go out to see this early and review it. I know the review is late. I'm dealing with a few personal things. Sorry for the delay. That is on me. Let's get into it. I want to make sure y'all know this out the gate. I love this goddamn movie. I did a review for it, like I said, for that hashtag show. I gave a quote for the social. And one of the things I said was, this movie is for the culture. And it absolutely is. This is what black people talk about in our conversations about if we were in a horror situation, watching all the shit we see white people do. We know what not to do. I have a whole joke I do on stage that says, I treat horror movies as study guides. You know what I'm saying? For everything white people do, I know what not to do. And this movie does all that, and it plays into it hilariously, top to bottom. I love the cast of this movie. Again, I am close friends with a couple of members of them, so seeing them on the screen, seeing them be able to shine, to see Dwayne shine as a star, to see Jermaine shine, to see James, who plays the twins, all the men, I am so happy for everyone. To see Yvonne, Jay Farrell, everybody I know that I'm fortunate enough to know in real life, I'm happy for them. For the rest of the cast, I'm extremely happy for, because they put together something that is so fucking dope. All the things, like I said, we talk about in different homages to horror movies that black people are like, yo, that can't happen. We always talk about, the tagline for this movie is we all can't die first, right? Because we talk about that when it comes to movies like Scream 2. Like, remember how in Scream 2, Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett Smith didn't make it past the opening fucking credits of the movie? Didn't even make it to the opening credits of the movie? Well, it's paid off in this, because there's a part with Morgan and Sean, who played by Yvonne Orji and Jay Farrell respectively. They get to the cabin to set up everything for the weekend, for Juneteenth weekend, for the friends for to come through, and then somehow, some way they find the door that leads them to the game, the Blackening game, right? And one of the questions in the game is, how long did they last in the movie? And at one point, Morgan, played by Yvonne Orji, says, yeah, they may have died early because they didn't have enough money in the budget to keep them through the whole film. And then both her and Jay Farrell pause and damn near look at the screen, letting you know they up out of here because the opening credits haven't happened yet. To have that happen, to have a moment where the rest of the friends are driving to the cabin, you got Lisa, Allison, and Dwayne, and you got Lisa and Allison, they're talking without talking, just looking at each other. And I was in the theater, I was blessed to be in a theater screening with a bunch of black people. Best way to see this movie. Oh my God, I love my peoples. This was the best way to see it. Now, granted, there were some non-black folks. There was some non-melanated individuals. There were a few male sapiens, if you will, in the audience. And so I knew this was going to be interesting to watch their experience, watching a bunch of black people's experience. Because when we in a theater, for all my black viewers, if we enjoying some shit, we gonna enjoy. We gonna laugh. We gonna scream. We gonna, oh, hell no, don't you do that, etc., etc. So to have a theater full of this was a great experience. And even to the non-black people that were in there, a couple of homies. Shouts out to the homies Simon Thompson for Variety. But to watch everything play out, to watch the different scenes, like we see in the trailer, the scene with Grace Byers, and when shit starts getting real through the house, Grace Byers is saying, I think we need to, and everybody's like, don't you say it, bitch, don't you say it, we need to split up. And she's like, oh, this bitch just said it, because everyone knows in horror movies, when people have to split up, people die. To watch them have to play the Blackening game, though, if you've never played urban trivia or played a game where you have to question your blackness as a black person, there's shit that makes you think. The number one question for me was, how many seasons was dark-skinned Aunt Viv in Fresh Prince? I was around this bitch like, and if you carry the 2, divided by the 1. Okay, light-skinned Aunt Viv came in at Nikki's christening. And it was shit like that, but one of the most hilarious jokes throughout this movie, it said, what does the NAACP stand for? Now, for those who know, the NAACP stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, which, if you've watched the Black Boy Content Club podcast with myself, Moses Prim, and Chris Burns, you know we've said they need to change shit out of that, which is why we've come up with NAN, the National Association for the Advancement of Niggas, and brought to you by niggas like you. But one of the choices as to what does NAACP stand for, Negroes at Applebee's cooking pasta. When I tell you, half of us were in the aisles hollering because we was like, this is a choice. There's a moment where Melvin Gregg, who plays King, who's also, you know him from Snowfall on FX's Man Boy. He's hilarious. Dude makes some Kool-Aid, puts the sugar in it, heavy sugar, cultural shit. It's parts where you like, yo, are people gonna die? You don't know who dies first. Everything sets up. There's a white sheriff, right, a ranger, and he comes. He sees they're renting the house as an Airbnb for the weekend. It's 7 friends total, correct? Yeah, 7 friends. And so they're in the house, and he's like, how y'all get this house? And he's real racist in the shit he does. So when shit starts going on in the house, when they're being hunted per se and being tormented, you start to think it's him. I don't want to spoil too much of this. I always say there will be spoilers. I don't want to spoil too much. There's so many twists and turns throughout this movie where you're like, that couldn't have been. Holy shit, they did that. Jermaine Fowler's character as the nerdy black dude, again, in the trailer, you see when they try to figure out, you got to sacrifice who's the blackest. And he says, you can't sacrifice me. I voted for Trump twice. And that's just that's not even the icing on the cake of the level of cornball that Jermaine Fowler's character is. Now, here's the crazy part. Pull the curtain back. Jermaine Fowler's character is based on one of my best friends who was a part of the original sketch. It's fucking hysterical because we was like, you know that's based on me. I was like, oh shit. And I didn't want to say it like, yeah, nigga, the counter checks. I didn't want to say that. The way the drama unfolds between Dwayne and Lisa, because Lisa gets back with Namdi, who is played by Sinqua Walls. Now, Sinqua was in White Men Can't Jump, and I'm not going to lie, seeing him just in the recent remake, which I really didn't like, was made me already like, oh, this motherfucker's better than this. And he works. But the beef with Lisa and Dwayne, how Dwayne didn't want her being back with the guy who cheated on him, like that's her best friend, and he felt like he was ostracized and shit like that, and all those things. That is a beautiful dynamic between the two of them. Shanika, when she comes through the gate, she just like, yo, I'm trying to make shit happen. We got to go. We got to do this, when shit starts going wild. Grace Byers, if you ever watched the show Empire, that's where you know her from. I remember meeting Grace years ago at the Chirac premiere. She's super cool. We were watching her. It's a part where she gets some drugs, and you find out the drugs she's getting, and she is on one. Throughout this movie, it touches on so many common, like I said, so many common horror movie tropes. And those horror movie tropes, in particular, how they affect black people in these films. Things that, like I said, you will see black people die. We die early in the credits. We don't make it to the end. All these different things. Every black person you think might make it dies. Watch the original Night of the Living Dead. The black dude, he's saving the white people, and as soon as everybody thinks is okay, he comes up, shows his eyes, they shoot shit out of him. Not because they think he's a zombie, because he's black. Because he's black. But what this movie does is plays on so much and so many reasons of different things happening. To James Preston Rogers, he plays one of the main parts of this. You get introduced to him first at a convenience store when they're heading to the cabin, which of course the cabin don't got good internet service and none of this, but you find the internet service is wonky and cell phone reception is crazy. But all these things that are supposed to happen, that are building up to the moment of we're being hunted almost, it's like, are they going to survive? Are they going to die? Who lives? Who dies? Do they all die? Do they all live? Who's the killer? Who's not the killer? Who can be trusted? Who can't be trusted? Who's the blackest? They told Sinqua Walls' character, Namdi, you the blackest, bro. You were from the origin. You were from Africa. Like you are the blackest. They told Melvin Gregg King, it was like, yo, you got a gun. You got a pistol. And he was like, I'm married to a white woman. And it was like, well, that makes you black. All these different things. And there's so much humor throughout this. This is one of those movies, again, I talk about a lot of movies. I talk about a lot of TV shows. And I know I cover a lot of comic book shit primarily. But when it comes to things that are for the culture, that are meant for the culture, to elevate and move the culture, and to say, we want things like this. We want these type of films. We want these type of TV shows and movies. When we have them and they're good, you got to go support them. And this is one of them. I have yet, look, I'm blessed. I'm blessed in my life. I'm fortunate. I have yet to watch a movie or a TV show before this one where in the middle of it, I text one of the people who helped create it to say, this shit is so hysterical, I'm not done. I did that with my homeboy Dwayne Perkins. I text Dwayne mid-movie, like, why am I sitting in this theater crying, laughing with everybody else? And we just, and I got back to him after the fucking movie was over. But that's how dope this movie is. If you are something that's for the culture, I hate people who try to justify, well, what about doing this? Yo, we want more good shit. And we have that. You have to support what we have. Do that. Again, thank you to Lionsgate. Thank you to that hashtag show. I want to see how far expanded this is. Tracy Oliver and Dwayne Perkins put together an incredible script, and I need to see this shit. Was it Tracy Oliver? Yeah, I think it's Tracy Oliver. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. I got to make sure I got everything together because my brain is 90 different directions right now, early in the morning as I do this. But it is definitely, Tracy Oliver and Dwayne Perkins. Tim Story directed it. That's what I was making sure I got. Cool. But check this out when you can. Support the shit out this movie. Tell people this is something we need to have. This is something that needs to continue and build. This shit is so dope. Highly recommend y'all check it out. But also, let me know if you've seen it, what you think down in the comments below. I know when this movie came out, it's Juneteenth weekend. It was up against The Flash and up against Elemental. And the box office is not that telling of any film. With a lot of things with the strikes, hurt the promotion of a lot of movies in general. But if you saw it, I want to know what you think down below. And while you're here, click on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. All right, let me know what you think. Share this video as well. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Those are the only places I need you to follow me. Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. You really should. Check out the BBC Club podcast. That is the Black Boy Content Club podcast with myself, Chris Burns, Moses Prim. I told you about it earlier from Prim's Hood Cinema. We go live on the Prim's Hood Cinema YouTube channel. Then you can watch the podcast later on the Moses Prim channel. And you can listen to us everywhere you get your podcast from. In the Mad Titan podcast, where I get you caught up on all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live-action cinematic universes. It's Barbershop Talk for Nerds. There's a little things happening in the comic book world, so we'll start back talking about all those and more. All right? Holla at y'all next time. Till then, I'm out.